Good evening, I'm Apolinario, Ferdinand si Valencia, and this is Philippine Headlines. In Luzon, the first ever Youth Summit 2026 was held in the city of Alaminos. The first ever Youth Summit 2026 was successfully held in the city of Alaminos, the province of Pangasinan, attended by student leaders from various colleges and universities across the city. The summit took place at a convention center with the theme Empowering the Next Generation of Inclusive and Gender-Responsive Leaders. The youth participants attended various lectures, interactive activities, and discussions on topics including gender and development, responsible social media management, ethical use of artificial intelligence, and backyard gardening for sustainable living. The program aims to shape the youth into responsible, inclusive, and empowered future leaders. In Visayas, Ileco 1 lineman electrocuted in the municipality of Pavia. A lineman of Iloilo Electric Cooperative or Ileco 1 was electrocuted while climbing an electric post in Barangay Ungka 2 in the municipality of Pavia, the province of Iloilo at around 1:30 p.m. on Sunday. The victim was identified as 32-year-old Christian Paulo Alcala, a resident of Barangay Atabay in Alimudia. According to the investigation conducted by the Pavia Municipal Police Station, the victim was working on an electrical line when he accidentally came into contact with a live wire. The victim sustained burns on his left leg and he is currently receiving treatment at Iloilo Doctors Hospital. In Mindanao, the cornfields destroyed by flooding after the Matinao River overflows in the municipality of Alamada. The severe damage to corn plantations was left by flooding after the Matinao River that overflowed due to continuous rainfall on Saturday in Sitio Giling in the municipality of Alamada, the province of North Cotabato. Based on photos shared by resident Jacqueline Macasling Vicente, the floodwaters quickly swept through vast cornfields, destroying crops and some farm animals. Several houses located in low-lying areas were also flooded, causing concern among residents. Despite the incident, no injuries or fatalities were reported, while the local government continues to warn residents to stay alert due to the possibility of the river's water level rising again as the rain continues. In the other news, the heat index in some areas of the country is under the 45 degrees Celsius danger category according to Pag-asa. The heat index in some parts of the country has reached in 45 degrees Celsius danger category according to the latest forecast from the Department of Science and Technology and the Philippine Atmospheric, Geophysical, and Astronomical Services Administration. Based on the DOST Pag-asa report, areas expected to experience extreme heat include Etiague in Isabela, Camiling in Tarlac, and Butuan City. The agency reminded the public to drink plenty of water and stay indoors, especially between 10 a.m. and 4 p.m. They also advised people to avoid strenuous physical activities under extreme sunlight to prevent heat cramps and heat exhaustion. And our business update, the new airline had another milestone at Manila. We just had another milestone in Manila as we welcome Qingdao Airlines, which flew in from Changsha, operating as flight QW965 utilizing the Airbus A320neo. Her inaugural flight was welcomed with the traditional water salute. It arrived at 2:13 hours in local time. Qingdao Airlines joins the list of many mainland Chinese carriers flying out of Manila, further enhancing the connection between the Philippines and China. And another, Meralco seeks swift regulator approval for San Miguel deal. The Manila Electric Cooperative or Meralco hopes to secure the regulator's approval for its power supply agreement or PSA with the unit on San Miguel Global Holdings Corporation that is projected to result in 631 million pesos in consumer savings. In a joint filing posted on the Energy Regulatory Commission's or ERC website, Meralco and Sual Power Incorporated or SPI are formally seeking the agency's green light with a prayer for issuance of provisional authority. The utility giant's deal with SPI involves a 200 megawatts in capacity with a contracted a rate of 4 pesos and 19 centavos per kilowatt hour. The figure, Meralco noted, is cheaper by about 36 centavos if the equivalent power capacity were sourced from the spot market and the renewable energy market through the renewable energy certificates. The contract, however, is supposed to begin last January with an expiration date set 4 years later or on January 25 in 2030. Meralco and SPI said it was much delayed already amid a setback in the review and approval for the certificate of compliance. Meralco delivers electricity to over 8.2 million consumers in Metro Manila and nearby provinces. In Luzon, Mayon volcano glows due to continuing eruption. The crater and slopes of Mayon volcano glowed on Saturday night due to its continuing unrest to the 131st consecutive day. The volcano also emitted pyroclastic density currents, locally referred to as uson by residents living near the volcano. According to PHIVOX, Mayon volcano remains under alert level 3, where entry into the 6-kilometer permanent danger zone is strictly prohibited. In Visayas, 4 women fall from an amusement ride in the municipality of Bilyar, the province of Bohol. 4 women were injured after falling from a running amusement ride at the carnival in the town of Bilyar, the province of Bohol, on the evening of May 17. The victims were reportedly riding an attraction called SpongeBob. Based on the initial police investigation, riders had already been warned not to move around while the ride was operating. However, instead of following the instructions, the victims allegedly kept taking selfies and standing up, which was believed to have caused their fall. They were immediately brought to the nearest health center and treated for bruises and minor injuries. The authorities are continuing their investigation to determine whether the carnival owner may be held liable and whether any safety protocols were violated. In Mindanao, the several families evacuated in Matinapangi have returned to their homes. The several residents of Matinapangi have already returned to their respective homes after being evacuated due to the severe flooding that occurred last night. According to reports, more than 200 families were displaced after the Matinapangi River reached a critical level and overflowed. At present, authorities continue to monitor the situation in the area to ensure the safety of residents and prevent further incidents as bad weather persists. Meanwhile, Barangay Matinapangi expressed gratitude to all responders and volunteers who assisted in the rescue operations last night. According to the barangay, due to the swift and coordinated response of the rescuers, 0 casualty was recorded in the barangay. Another, a 21-year-old man, died after reportedly being electrocuted and drowning in floodwaters in Barangay Buhangin. The victim was identified as Aaron James Pangaldine, single, a pump boy, a native from the municipality of Manay, the province of Davao Oriental, and currently renting in Barangay Buhangin. He was believed to have been electrocuted and drowned in floodwaters in New San Isidro in Barangay Buhangin, the city of Davao, early this morning. According to the report, the police received a call from Central 911 at around 2:35 a.m. regarding a dead body found in flooded area. The authorities immediately responded to verify the incident and conducted an ocular investigation. Initial investigation revealed that while police, together with rescue teams from Barangay Buhangin and Central 911, were monitoring flood-affected areas, they found the victim floating in the flood waters in front of his rented house at around 2 a.m. When the victim's body was retrieved, responders discovered that he no longer showed signs of life, prompting authorities to rush him to the Southern Philippines Medical Center. However, at around 3:15 a.m., the attending physician declared him dead. Based on medical findings, the cause of death was cardiopulmonary arrest due to fatal cardiac dysrhythmia caused by electrocution, compounded by respiratory failure from drowning after he reportedly inhaled flood waters. The victim's body is now at the Southern Philippines Medical Center, Morgue, for an autopsy. In the other news, the Bacolod Mascara Coliseum along Alihis Road is expected to be completed this October, following the additional final notice issued by the city to the contractor handling the project. According to Sir Greg Casataya, said that the Coliseum is already 74% complete. He added that the contractor has committed to speeding up the completion of the project so it can finally be utilized. It can be recalled that the project, which began in 2022, has a budget of more than 850 million pesos. The facility is intended to host sports, tournaments, concerts, conventions, and cultural events with a seating capacity of 11,450. And our business update, BDO MasterCard extended 20-year remittance partnership. The BDO Unibank Incorporated and MasterCard Incorporated are leveraging their 20-year partnership to defend their share of the local remittance market amid growing competition from fintech players. The collaboration connects the Philippines' largest domestic bank to MasterCard's global payment network, serving more than 4 million overseas Filipinos and their beneficiaries. The partnership supports millions of co-branded BDO debit and ATM cards, generating fee income from cross-border transactions and supporting retail deposit growth. BDO said remittances remain central to its retail banking strategy as inflows continue to support household consumption. She said the bank aims to improve the remittance experience through continued innovation. Castro said upcoming developments would focus on improving speed and security in cross-border payments. In Luzon, one aircraft crashes in the province of Benguet. The search, rescue, and retrieval operations by personnel from the PNP, Bureau of Fire Protection, and Tuba MDRMO are ongoing following the crash of an aircraft at Mount Cabuyao in the municipality of Tuba, the province of Benguet, on the morning. The authorities identified the crash's aircraft as an SIAI Marchetti SF-260 small fixed-wing trainer aircraft of the Philippine Air Force. Reports said that the two people were seen inside the aircraft, but authorities have yet to release further details regarding the plane and its passengers before the crash occurred. Police Lieutenant Colonel Roy Calulot, Information Officer of the Police Regional Office Cordillera, stated that they received a report regarding the aircraft crash, which was reported to be carrying two passengers. In Visayas, the woman who lost or did not win at the casino lies down in the middle of the road. A woman reportedly collapsed and lay down in the middle of the road after allegedly losing a huge amount of money at a casino in the city of Cebu yesterday morning. According to the initial investigation, she was believed to be drunk and emotionally distressed due to an estimated 60,000 pesos debt after losing it gambling. She also reportedly feared being jailed if she failed to pay the amount. Personnel from the Cebu City Transportation Office or CCTO responded and assisted to her to prevent her from being hit by passing vehicles. Currently, she is in the hospital receiving immediate medical attention. In Mindanao, a female passenger died after a tricycle collided with a wing van along the Baloy Tablon Highway in the city of Cagayan de Oro. Shown in the photo is the Bao or tricycle that crashed into the wing van in Baloy Tablon Highway in the city of Cagayan de Oro, the province of Misamis Oriental. Reports said the wing van was making a turn to refuel, but due to the high speed of the tricycle, it slammed into the truck. The female passenger was rushed to the hospital unconscious after being rescued. Meanwhile, the male passenger sustained bruises on his arm and injuries to his nose. The authorities also assisted the driver of the tricycle, who was trapped in the collision, while the driver of the wing van is currently under the custody of Police Station 10 in Cugman in the city of Cagayan de Oro. Bao man dia ito. In the other news, a nurse who was supposedly on his way to duty earned praise on social media after he did not hesitate to help a motorist who figured in an accident in the city of Kidapawan. The heroic nurse was identified by netizens as Charles Philip Frias, who was admired for his quick response and compassionate and heart towards others. A vehicular accident happened along the road in Barangay Mateo, particularly in front of a cockpit arena in the city, where the victim was identified as a resident of Barangay Magkaalam in the neighboring town of Magpet. Based on the post of eyewitness netizen Marmar Quator, Frias was on his way to work when he came across the road accident. Upon seeing the bloodied victims, the nurse immediately parked his motorcycle without hesitation and rushed to the injured motorist to provide first aid. Despite the risk of being late for work, the nurse stayed beside the victim and made sure the person's condition remained stable. The medical worker was praised for showing professionalism and compassion. According to netizens, Frias' actions prove that being a hero does not depend on time or place, but naturally comes out whenever someone is in need of help. In our business update, Philippine banks earn records 105 billion pesos profit amid Middle East tensions. Philippine banks delivered a record-breaking performance in the first quarter of the year, with profits climbing despite heightened volatility in global markets brought about by tensions in the Middle East. Data released by the Bangko Sentral ng Pilipinas shown that the country's banking industry booked a combined net income of 104.82 billion pesos from January to March, up nearly 3% from the same period last year. The figure marked the sector's strongest first quarter earnings since comparable records began in 2008. The banking sector's growth was largely fueled by higher interest earnings, net interest income, the difference between what banks earn from loans and pay on deposits rose 12.44% to 310.59 billion pesos as elevated borrowing cost continues to support lending margins. Meanwhile, non-interested income remained relatively steady at 60.1 billion pesos. However, other income sources, including dividend collections and foreign exchange earnings, fell dramatically by 93.6% to just 822 million pesos. The decline was largely attributed to a 7.7 billion pesos foreign exchange loss. Despite the jump in other income, banks were still able to offset rising operating costs. Non-interest expenses, which include salaries, taxes, impairment charges, and provisions for possible losses, climbed 8.7% to 207.73 billion pesos during the quarter. In Luzon, 2 people injured in the collision that led to a hit and run in the city of Olongapo. The 2 individuals were injured in a vehicular accident that escalated into a hit-and-run incident after a car and a tricycle collided recently along in Balik-Balik Road in Barangay Santa Rita in the city of Olongapo, the province of Zambales. The driver of the car was identified as Ricardo, a 66-year-old resident of Gordon Heights who was driving a red Honda Civic with the plate number WFD 655. Meanwhile, the tricycle involved was an Kawasaki Barako with plate number R7613T and body number 7027, driven by Renante, a 54-year-old, along with his passenger Nida, a 43-year-old. Based on the initial investigation by authorities, both vehicles were traveling in the same direction at around 11:30 a.m. when the Honda Civic allegedly struck the rear portion of the tricycle. Due to the strong impact, the tricycle lost control and eventually crashed into a concrete wall of a roadside in the sari-sari store. The two occupants of the tricycle sustained injuries and were immediately assisted by the Barangay Santa Rita rescue team, was rushed to James L. Gordon Memorial Hospital for medical treatment. After the collision, the driver of the car reportedly did not stop and instead fled the scene. However, the police immediately conducted a follow-up operation and tracked down the suspect at a convenience store along in Santa Rita Road, where he was promptly arrested by authorities. Both vehicles sustained heavy damage and are now under the custody of the Traffic Enforcement Unit for further examination, while the investigation continues to determine the possible liabilities of the car driver in connection with the incident. In Visayas, the vendors selling outside Eastern Visayas Medical Center are ready to vacate for the construction of the legacy building. The vendors with stalls outside the Eastern Visayas Medical Center are prepared to vacate if necessary for the planned construction of the hospital's new building. The area currently occupied by the vendors outside the hospital will be the site of the 12-story legacy building. The vendors said they understand that the land is owned by the government, which is why they are willing to leave once needed. They were reportedly informed about the plan as early as last year. However, the group of vendors is appealing to the government to help them find a new location where they can continue their businesses. The new state-of-the-art Eastern Visayas Medical Center legacy building will be constructed to provide additional treatment and laboratory centers. In Mindanao, the grandmother and granddaughter died while crossing a swollen river in the city of Digos. A female senior citizen and her granddaughter died after being swept away by strong flood waters in the Mati River in Barangay San Agustin in the city of Digos, the province of Davao del Sur, on Tuesday afternoon. The search, rescue, and retrieval operation conducted by responders lasted for 12 hours in search of the 65-year-old grandmother and her 5-year-old granddaughter. According to Philip Caminade of the Digos City Disaster Risk Reduction and Management Office, the grandmother and her two grandchildren were attempting to cross the river to attend a birthday celebration when they were caught by the sudden surge of water. The grandmother was found dead in the neighboring town of Hagonoy, while the granddaughter was also found dead in a nearby barangay. Meanwhile, the other 7-year-old grandchild survived but sustained injuries to the body. Caminade said that no houses in the city were flooded, but river currents became very strong due to heavy rains in the upland areas of Digos City and nearby towns. In the other news, Super El Nino feared due to extreme heat. The Department of Science and Technology, Philippine Atmospheric, Geophysical and Astronomical Services Administration, or DOST Pag-asa, has raised concerns over the possibility of the Super El Nino if the extreme heat caused by El Nino continues. A Super El Nino occurs when sea surface temperatures rise above 2.0 degrees Celsius. According to weather specialist Lauren Lorente, its effects could be far more severe than the current El Nino being experienced, as it may bring intense drought and possibly long-term impacts linked to global climate change. Based on DOST Pag-asa data, the last recorded Super El Nino occurred in 1877 and 1878, during which millions of people were affected and many died due to extreme heat. At present, DOST Pag-asa has already issued an advisory to the public, urging everyone to remain alert to the dangers and health risks brought by the continuously rising temperatures. And our business update, OWA and DTI have partnered to provide loans for OFWs amounting to as much as 5 million pesos. The Overseas Workers Welfare Administration, or OWA, and the Department of Trade and Industry, or DTI, have partnered to provide startup loans for overseas Filipino workers, or OFWs, that may reach up to 5 million pesos. According to OWA, the said loan requires no collateral and carries 0% interest based on the promised 2 billion peso funds allocated for OFWs. This is in addition to the Step Up Upskilling program being offered by OWA to OFWs. In Luzon, the student dies after being run over in the province of Nueva Vizcaya. A student died after being run over by a fuel tanker along Barangay Baretbet in Bagabag, Nueva Vizcaya. Based on the investigation by the Bagabag PNP, a tanker truck and a motorcycle carrying a father and son from Pandi, Bulacan were traveling in opposite directions where the incident occurred past 11 p.m. on May 19. The tanker was reportedly descending a curved portion of the road while the motorcycle driven by a 50-year-old father was traveling uphill. Both vehicles allegedly entered the opposite lane. Due to the collision, the father and son fell from their motorcycle and the driver's son was thrown underneath the tanker and run over by its left wheel. The son, who was identified as a graduating student, was declared dead on arrival, while the father was rushed to the hospital after immediate treatment. According to police, the father and son were supposedly on their way to Cagayan province to visit relatives. The tanker driver and the vehicle are now under the custody of the Bagabag PNP as the investigation into the incident continues. In Visayas, the portions of the National Highway in Santa Barbara turned dark after solar street lights installed by DPWH were stolen. The several portions of the National Highway in the municipality of Santa Barbara turned dark after 129 solar street lights installed by the Department of Public Works and Highways, or DPWH, were stolen. According to Santa Barbara ABC President and Punong Barangay Larry Diatras, they only noticed last week that the streetlights in barangays Bolong Este and Cabugao Sur were gradually being stolen. After viewing CCTV footage, authorities saw 3 suspects working together to remove the solar street lights at around 3 a.m., prompting them to report the incident to authorities. Diatras said each street lights cost 34,000 pesos and the total value of 129 stolen solar street lights amounts to more than 4.3 million pesos. Meanwhile, Police Lieutenant Christopher Zuarez, Deputy Chief of Police of the Santa Barbara Municipal Police Station, said the suspects have already been identified and they are only waiting for the DPWH decisions on the whether theft charges to be filed against them. It was learned that the said project has not yet officially turned over by the DPWH to the Santa Barbara LGU. In Mindanao, a reporter was shot dead on Thursday evening in the municipality of Maligayao. The victim was identified as Nestor Teting Mikator, a DJ and reporter of their local radio station in the municipality of Pikit, the province of Cotabato. Aside from being a journalist, He also served as a Lupon member in Barangay Fort Piquet in Malidegao in SG Ibar. Tragically, Sir Mikator was killed right in front of their barangay hall. The local government, fellow journalists, and various sectors strongly condemned the violence against media workers, describing it as a threat to press freedom in the region. The Philippine National Police continues the investigation to determine the motive behind the shooting and whether the crime was related to his profession. In the other news, 321.8 million pesos in the distributed to 31,782 corn farmers in Cagayan by DSWD. Beneficiaries from the municipality of Tuao, Piat, Rizal, Santo Niño, and the city of Tuguegarao gathered at the Tuguegarao City People's Gym for the Emergency Cash Transfer Program of the Department of Social Welfare and Development, or DSWD. The SWD Secretary Rex Gatchalian led the distribution of approximately 321.8 million pesos in assistance for 31,782 corn farmer beneficiaries in the province of Cagayan. The ECT is the Post-Disaster Cash Assistance Program of the DSWD, aimed at providing immediate financial aid to families affected by calamities and other emergencies to help them recover and restore their livelihoods. The distribution is being conducted amid the ongoing state of calamity in the province of Cagayan due to the severe drought that caused significant damage to the agriculture sector, particularly corn production in the province. And our business update, more than 1 peso increase per liter of fuel expected next week. Motorists are expected to face another round of oil price hikes next week amid continuing supply disruptions caused by the war in the Middle East. Based on the estimates from trading in the Mean of Platts Singapore, or MOPS, and foreign exchange averages over the past 4 days, an oil industry source said the following price adjustments are expected. The diesel is increase of 1 peso to 1 peso to 30 centavos per liter, and gasoline increase of 1 peso and 20 centavos to 1 peso and 50 centavos per liter. And that is Philippine Headlines this Friday, May 22, 2026. I'm Apolinario Ferdivignadisi Valencia, and this is Salakot Online Broadcasting Network. Good night, Philippines. Amping kasadya.